Hello, and welcome to my channel. My name is Jonathan Cohn, and today I have my book review of the book Star Trek Ishmael by Barbara Hambly. This is a Star Trek original series novel. It's the number 23, back when they were doing the numbered novels for Star Trek, and this is written by Barbara Hambly. Many people know her. She's written some Star Trek novels. She wrote a few Star Wars novels, and she wrote the Dragon's Bane books, which is what got authors like Brandon Sanderson into reading. So she's got quite a lot of history in the publishing industry. She also wrote some Beauty and the Beast books, which is kind of interesting. But she wrote this novel, and it is, for the most part, delightful. This book is basically in two parts. There's one part of this book that is absolutely delightful and just beautifully written, fantastically executed. And then there's another part of the book that's just meh, okay, meh. And so the book overall is still very solid, but it could have been way better. So what I'll give the book is that on the plus side, this is a book that has an element of time travel to it. Basically, Spock gets thrown back into 1867 and gets thrown into the area of Seattle, Washington, and he doesn't remember why. And so he's just kind of stranded there, and he's just has to figure out whatever's going on. And so Spock ends up, he goes by the name Ishmael, and he has to pretend to be human while he's there. And he is kind of found by these people. One of them is Aaron Stemple, and then a couple of women that were around Aaron, and they all try to help kind of integrate Spock into life, particularly Aaron. And Spock goes on business trips and helps them with accounting, and he's like a math whiz. And all of that sequence of the book was brilliant. It was so artistically done. I loved every chance I had an opportunity to see Spock in the human elements, and how serious he was, and how melancholy he was that as he starts to remember more about his past, he starts feeling saddened by the fact that he won't be able to, or he doesn't think he'll be able to make it back to his timeline, and he's going to be stuck here on Earth, and he feels that he can't possibly marry a woman on Earth because of the issues that would happen. And so it's just a very touching and very beautiful story. So that part of the book was brilliant. However, there is a traditional Star Trek story where Kirk and the rest of the Enterprise crew is looking for Spock. And so they're in the normal Star Trek timeline, and they all realized that they need to they're trying to figure out where Spock went, and it's very confusing for them. And I just found this plotline mediocre. I thought that this plotline just felt like a typical run-of-the-mill Star Trek story. It felt nothing original and nothing really interesting about it. I can't say like other authors that Barbara Hambly didn't add anything really impactful, and she also didn't add anything that was really like impressive. It just felt okay, that's okay. And so I didn't love that part of the story, but the Spock stuff with Spock on Earth really carries this story. In a lot of ways, this reminds me of another Star Trek novel, another from the original series called From History's Shadow by Dayton Ward. It's also a book that partially is set from the human's perspective. It has an alien invasion element. It has some of the original cast involved, and it deals with people from America. This one's set in like the 1940s on, whereas this one's set in the 1860s. So they're set in different times, but it's kind of like the idea of how they react to aliens that and they encounter on Earth. And I love this book, by the way. This is a great book. And this one I think is really good. It's just that the other part is just so bland that it just doesn't add that much, and it kind of drags the book down. So overall, I'd give this like a solid 7 out of 10. The ending of this book is absolutely brilliant. It totally shocked me. Once I read it, when I say the ending, I mean literally the last page of the book surprised me. And it was something where it was totally out of left field, and yet I thought it was genius. And I was like, that makes so much sense. That's a genius move, Hambly. So I got to give credit for that. That was a genius move at the end. Don't spoil it for yourself. It's really special when you read it. But man, the final words of the final page were just, I was like, wait, what? Like that was so cool. So I give it like a 7 out of 10. Really good book. Could have been an amazing top tier, top Star Trek novel if the Enterprise stuff was good, but it's just kind of mediocre. But the stuff with Spock is truly wonderful. So if you've read this book, what did you think of it? And what did you think of that big surprise at the end? Let me know your spoiler thoughts in the comments down below. But until next time, I'm Jonathan, and thank you for watching.